Hi, everybody. This is Kathy L. Murphy, and I'm reporting live from my little cabin in the woods, Murphy's Law. I'm back today because I just celebrated my 65th birthday, and I'm into my 20th year of running as the CEO and founder of the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club Reading Nation. I'm doing kind of a recap of my so-called guide to life on what I've learned in all these years that I've been on this planet. Now, as I've been looking back on my 65 years, I've had a lot of really incredible things happen to me. First of all, the book club that I started in my little beauty shop and bookstore called Beauty in the Book back in 2000 immediately received a lot of media attention. We were featured on Oprah Winfrey's Oxygen Network and went on to be featured on the Oprah Winfrey Show along with Queen Latifah, who had a movie out called Beauty Shop. From there, we had a Los Angeles Times reporter, Mary McNamara, come and follow me around because I started with one book club, and when it grew to about 150, we expanded out. So I had 12 book clubs running in the Arklatex that I used to take the authors in my damn minivan around to meet all my chapters. And Mary came and rode with me, and author Mark Lee of the Canal House to visit all those chapters, and she did an outstanding story on the cover of the Sunday supplement issue, entertainment issue of the Los Angeles Times. It was a spread called The Tastemaker, and when you opened, it was a full page, and when you opened it up, it had a double page spread. In those, that came out on a Sunday morning in July. And that the next 2 days, I received over 1,000 calls from authors, media, Eminem's agent, the craziest people I've ever heard in my life. And I thought, this is it, I'm famous. But what I've learned is being famous or infamous is fleeting. It was a wonderful experience. I got to talk to some amazing people. But what I've learned and what is important is what I'm going to share here in a minute. But a couple other things that were just kind of mind-blowing to me as I look back at my past years was back when I was a children's manager and book buyer. I was invited to have tea with the Duchess of York. And this is me in the bowler hat sitting next to Fergie, having tea in Chicago at the Four Seasons Hotel with my fellow children's booksellers. These are all still my dear friends, and it was one of the highlights of my life to be able to sit next to her. Now, this was an event that had children's booksellers and buyers from all over the country, and our table was of Texas booksellers. And I don't know, maybe 40, 50 tables. And when she walked in, she selected to sit down right beside me. I don't look at these things as just coincidences. I think all things happen for a reason, but she was so lovely and so warm. It was kind of one of my other highlights. The other thing that happened to me when I was a children's bookseller was I won something called the Lucille Michelle's Pinnell Award. And this is one of my certificates from that win. And I have it framed in my house. And it's a certificate for doing outstanding children's programming. And I had done an event with Faith Ringgold and brought in 14 different school districts to hear her speak. She's a wonderful artist and children's illustrator. And I just cannot believe just how wonderful that award was. And then you always, when you go to, and the first one I went to that I won was in Miami, and they give you an original piece of children's art. And this is Demi, and it's from one of her books. And of course it's a cat, which I thought, how appropriate, my nickname's Cat. And then I went on to win a second time in Chicago, and I received another wonderful work of art. And it was a big honor. Last year around this time, this came out of the blue, and I was nominated by author Claire Fullerton, who written a story about coming to my girlfriend weekend. She hails from Malibu, California, and is a wonderful author. And she wrote a story and nominated me for the Cinderella to CEO Awards. And I didn't even know what it was, but basically it was a fairy tale come true because I was flown to New York. I was one of 4 finalists in my category, though I did not win for that category. The women, the 250 women that were there that were in attendance, it was probably one of the most inspirational things I've ever been to in my life, hearing all these women's stories. So all of these are wonderful. We went on to be featured on Good Morning America. Diane Sawyer called, and her producers wanted me to kick off my book club with announcing what we were reading. And the first book we announced was Kathy Heppenstall's The Absence of Nectar. And the results of people watching the show loved it so much, they invited us back to kick off their new Good Morning America Read This Book Club. And I selected the book, The Dive from Clawson's Pier by Ann Packer. And this book was brought to me, and I have to tell people this story. I get book club suggestions from all of my friends, and this was my mentor, Mary Gay Shipley, who owned that bookstore in Blytheville, Arkansas. She was once the president of the American Booksellers Association, and she told me to read the book. And I love that the book that she just suggested to me that I picked went on to be announced on Good Morning America. The producers called me that night, and it went #1 on Amazon when we made the announcement. And by the time this played out, I think she's sold over 1 million copies, maybe 2 million copies of the book, The Dive from Clawson's Pier. And terrific author, wonderful book club selection story. And that's what I look for. I look for authors that maybe not be well known, first-time authors. Maybe they're famous in another part of the country, but maybe not so famous here. And for 20 years, I've been picking those books by myself. And now I have an executive director named Mandy Haynes, who is championing our new magazine. She's the editor-in-chief and publisher of www.readingnationmagazine.com. Our new issue is out, and it's announcing, all the authors that are joining our book club and giving the stories. It's a one-stop shop magazine for the best books in reading. And so many of them are authors that you may not have discovered. Now, I say that, and people say, well, do you pick, big New York City publishers or self-published authors? Or what? I pick a good story. That's it. If you've written a good story and it's written well, it's told from a perspective I have not heard before, that's the kind of books that I want to share with all my now 800 plus chapters of the Pulpwood Queens. We're now even in 20 foreign countries because book club members move abroad, or I meet people from other countries. I've had exchange students from Japan and Germany live with me that want to go back and start chapters. It's anybody who loves reading. We now, with Zoom, our Zoom meetings, and our international book club being virtual and online, we are literally an international book club that brings our authors into the conversation. And the reason why I want to tell you that is it's so important. Rebecca Rosenberg, who is one of my authors, and I moderate a daily blog called Breathless Bubbles and Books. Rebecca is on the Breathless Wines end of it, which I pick the books, and Rebecca pairs our books with the award-winning Breathless Wines. They've been featured in Forbes magazine. They won Winery of the Year. It's owned by Sharon Cohen and her sisters. It's empowering women, and I cannot thank Rebecca enough. In fact, we've got one of her newest books going to be a book club selection coming up this year. Everything she touches is gold. She has a historical blog on fiction on Facebook, and I cannot thank her enough. But we pick the books and she picks the wine. It's a perfect marriage. Every book club should have a time where you can relax, have a glass of wine, and share a great read. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you in my living room. I'm going to take you to my bar, which has now become really a everyday curated gallery of what I'm doing. And so I'm going to unplug my computer and walk over here and show you all what I have got on my bar. I have received so many gifts, so many cards, so many things throughout the year that are important to me. And I hope you all can see this. And these are stacks of books that I still got to go through. Let me tip it down. Still got to go through that I'm reading. I've got about, I don't know, 150, 250 more before Mandy and I make our book club selections. But I'm going to start at this end because I've got to show you this. This is, let's tip it here, right in front of you. Can you see that fountain? This fountain and this card and this wonderful coral and citrine gemstone was sent to me by Ruthie Landis, who is one of my Chicago authors. I love everything that she touches. She's so inspiring, and she sent me all of this to bring me wonderful feng shui for all that I'm doing, and this Virgo card I'm going to frame. But as I go up, you know, you're going to see some of the crazy things that I've received. This is a befeathered hat. Now, the Pulpwood Queen signature look is hot pink and leopard print. And this is just so me. I actually have worn this to a book club meeting. I've got a beautiful card here from my author friend, Tamara Bolton, with the most precious poem that she sent me. And I've got this wonderful desk sign, "Don't Quit Your Daydream," from my best friend and leader of my Pulpwood Queens of Eureka, Kansas, my hometown, Heidi Server-Tyscriber. And then you can see all these cards. And I want to show them to you because in today's world, to receive a card with a handwritten note, I mean, I just can't even hardly believe this. This is from Stephanie. I just love these cards, and I want to share them with all of you because the fact that somebody took the time to write these is amazing. This was from my dear friend in Kansas, and it's got this wonderful little art piece on it. Pam Maynard from my hometown and classmate. I've got this one is just hilarious. You know, I'm an artist too. And on the back, this is from Ruthie Landis, and I have to share what she wrote. It says, "Don't ask." I will frame that and put that in my house too. All of these cards that you all send me are cherished. Happy birthday is a new beginning from my daughter, Madeline. I love it. And there are things, just beautiful inscriptions. This also came to me from Ruthie Landis. Pat Conroy Literary Center sends me periodically cards because the Pat Conroy Literary Center is our charity of choice. And I did a big fundraiser for my birthday and do that every year because if you have to send a gift, I really wish that it'd be a monetary one to this literary center in Beaufort, South Carolina, because I'm telling you, this is one of the most, and this is all signed. This is by Cassandra, signed by Cassandra King, who is Pat Conroy's widow and one of our all-time favorite Pulpwood Queen authors. We adore her. This is a beautiful, I love art, and this was sent to me by author Kathleen M. Rogers, and it's just absolutely beautiful. And then I've got more cards along here. I wanted to share this. I'll come back to this at the very end about Leslie Lear, who's an author that's been with me forever. This is her latest book that was a book of the month in May. This beautiful peacock card. I'm such a peacock, and I have peacocks all over my house. Claire Fullerton sent me this. Just beautiful messages from everybody here. I love these. This is just wonderful handwritten notes from all of our authors. I just really am overwhelmed. Another dish from Italy that was sent to me because everybody knows how much I love Italy. This is from my cousins. just wonderful things. But before we leave this bar, I've got to show you now our book of the month, Bookish Broads, Women Who Wrote Themselves into History by Laura Marino. She is actually our guest host author on Breathless Bubbles and Books this week. I just posted her latest post, so please check it out. Our international book of the month is by Pulpwood Queen favorite River Jordan, and this is about her trip to Scotland. It's a nonfiction story, discoveries on the path of Celtic Christianity. I really think this is, as we fall back into reading, this is an outstanding list. Next week on Breathless Bubbles and Books, we'll be having Eileen English. She wrote Hippie Chick, Coming of Age in the 1960s. You will not be able to put down this book. It's winning awards. And then to tie in with that, I also picked some bonus books, Always a Song, Singers, Songwriters, Sinners, and Saints. My good friend, Sam Barry, put this together. It's My Story, the Folk Music Revival by Ellen Harper, and she's the mother of Ben Harper, who's a folk artist. It ties in very well to Hippie Chick. And also Nancy J. Martin's From the Summer of Love to the Valley of the Moon. It's a memoir, and I love memoirs. That's one of my favorite reads. And last, and oh, so important. I don't even know how many awards this book, Lutz, has won. It's a novel by Deborah Thomas. She'll be coming up in the queue on Breathless Bubbles and Books. And this is all about, the border crossings and what is happening with why people are so desperate to get into the United States. It is very well researched. She's an educator. It's one of the best books I've read. You've got to read it. It's fantastic. And then now I'm going to go back over to, as you go through my house, you can see my whole house is just a celebration of books and art and all my travels from all over the world. Here's some books that I'm going through right now that I've just read. I've got these wonderful saris were sent to me by this author, Anju Gatani, who sent me this wonderful, beautiful Bollywood invitation, and all these beautiful saris and my puppets from India and my own art and my own collections are shared. And now I'm going to go back and sit down for a minute and read to you something very special that was sent to me by Mandy Haynes. Mandy is my executive director, and she just posted her Reading Nation magazine for September. Go to www.thepulpwoodqueens.com to read all about it. And she posted on Facebook an excerpt from the magazine, and it's a love letter to me. And it's from author Leslie Lear, and it's why you should join the Pulpwood Queen family. There's a beautiful photo of Leslie. She's just gorgeous, from California. And I'm going to read it to you now because I tried to read it yesterday and I pulled up the wrong file. But it goes, why do I love the International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Book Club? Let me count the ways. 14 years, 3 girlfriend weekends, that's our book club convention, an enormous family of friends, riding the roller coaster of being a writer through the ups and downs of agents, publishers, divorce, motherhood, remarriage, cancer, and COVID. There is one thing that helped me hang on, my tiara. When I first discovered Beauty in the Book, that was my hair salon and bookstore. It was in 2007. The hot pink website matched the new painting on my sad, single, mom trying to be sexy bedroom walls. I already had a tiara and pink feather boa required by a friend who dragged me to my first post-divorce New Year's Eve party. I also had a new novel, Life Goes On, about how friends make all the difference. And I hope you're really paying attention to this, because the greatest gifts that you have in the world are your friendships with others. So I read the Pulpwood Queens, Tiara-Wearing Book Sharing Guide to Life. That was my first book and memoir, and the first book you're to read when you join the Pulpwood Queens. And I emailed Kathy L. Murphy and joined the club. It was a match made in book heaven. Now, here's a picture of Leslie at my girlfriend weekend. That first time she came with author K.a. McLaren, who was a hairball queen. We're really excited about Church of the Dog was her book, and hers was Wife Goes On. Does anyone know how Kathy does it all? Is she solar powered or super powered? By 2009, when I treated myself as a birthday present to fly from California to Louisiana, drive a rental car to Texas, and book an adorable room at the Delta Inn Bed and Breakfast in Jefferson, Texas, I attended my first girlfriend's weekend. We had emailed at least 68 times. You want to know what I do in my spare time? I'm talking to authors and book club members and publicists. It's a daily thing and something that I enjoy more than life itself. That's how many emails I saved anyway. We traded personal stories of mothers and daughters and professional tales of business and books. And it wasn't just me who felt special. That weekend, the first time I saw crocodile on a restaurant menu, actually it was alligator, because crocodiles are in Florida, not Texas, but that's okay. Same kind of thing. I met authors River Jordan, Melanie Benjamin, Barbara Claypool White, Karen Gillespie, and so many more who all felt special. And now they were special to me. I arrived at Girlfriend's Weekend without knowing anyone except Kathy, whom I'd never actually met. But our tiaras made us all royalty, readers and authors alike. Jane Porter shared her sweet social media person, who helped me for years. K.a. McLaren stopped on a road trip to visit me in LA and taught me about eating organic. Local members started a monthly meeting up, so many new friends and so many good books to read and recommend. I couldn't resist encouraging Carolyn Leavitt, a hardcore vegetarian New Yorker, to brave this crazy Southern weekend soon after. We met years earlier while teaching in the writers program at UCLA, and she was always generous. In fact, she may have been the one who pointed out the original Beauty in the Book website. After that, I was sick for a few years. When I started going to conferences in a wig to promote my new novel, What a Mother Knows, I met Marcy Knoll. We became roommates at the Girlfriend Weekend in 2014. Dressed as Bobby Soxers, we served the traditional Friday night dinner. With a head covered in chemo curls, I had a blast playing Audrey Hepburn to Jamie Ford's Hunter Thompson at the Saturday night gala. From the Elvis impersonator to book clubs and matching costume, the theme is always fun. And there's Jamie Ford and Leslie. I just love this picture. That was our Viva Las Vegas weekend. That was fun. The mood remained long after unpacking my tiara at home. When North Carolina and Denise Kiernan was in LA unexpectedly, I wasn't able to see her, but I was pleased to offer my home office for the afternoon. This is the level of trust between girlfriends. Becky Aikman and her husband, now bi-coastal, double date with my husband and me whenever they're in town. Julie Cantrell and I share a close personal friendship despite the distance between us. Pulpwood Queens support each other like family. When a Boo's Life, How America's Obsession Shaped Me, and you got a publishing deal on the eve of the COVID-19 lockdown, I was both elated and deflated. Gone was any chance of a book tour, public speaking, or traditional promotion. I'd spent 5 years on this book. I'd switched agents and publishers and was attracting attention from producer Salma Hayek for HBO Max. They needed to view the project as important. It wasn't important at all compared to the mortal risk of a pandemic. Yet in the face of disaster, we must live on. So I put on my tiara, I contacted the friends I made on the Pulpwood path and traded reviews, events, even online interviews. And of course, I called Kathy. Not only did she immediately understand the message of my memoir, but she shared boob stories of her own. Sure enough, our queen was up to the challenge of celebrating life and literacy during lockdown. She created a Zoom slumber party for the 2021 International Pulpwood Queens and Timber Guys Girlfriend Weekend that was not only fun, but serves as a template for an international participation in the future. It was an honor to have A Boob's Life featured as Book of the Month in May. And now there are new ways to share our mutual love of reading, from Breathless Bubbles and Books, to the Books and Film Club, to this fabulous magazine, Reading Nation. And you miss anything live, it's all on my Kathy L. Murphy YouTube channel. I'm grateful to all the people who contribute so much time and effort, both behind the scenes and those I've had the pleasure of working with, from Jonathan Hote of the Pat Conroy Center to Mandy Haynes, the executive director of the Pulpwood Queens. As the world opens again, I am proud to label every book with a hot pink Pulpwood Queen sticker. Let's just agree that Kathy L. Murphy is the gift to readers and writers. She is proof that one person can make a difference. The importance of literacy cannot be understated. It spreads entertainment, education, and empathy. This is a path to world peace. And lucky for us, it also creates a community of respect, friendship, and love. Grab a tiara and join us. And here's Leslie signing her book. Now, the reason why I'm doing these live Facebook things all year long is that we can't get together in person. And so I have been working real hard with Mandy Haynes and Robert Waltney, my co-host of the Book and Film Club, and Paul Robeson, who is my webmaster and who does our international newsletter. Our Pulpwood Queen and Timber Guy team has put together all these online and virtual programs. And I know all of you are afraid. You're afraid of learning new technology. I am too, but let me tell you, the old cat can learn some new tricks. I've had a lot of help from my blogger and podcast friends. We've partnered, and our annual book club convention, of which you can sign up today if you're a member. You want to get on board, you all, because it's going to be a week-long celebration of podcasters, bloggers, my Pulpwood Queen official authors, celebrities, all kinds of people that are out there promoting literacy, like Carol Fitzgerald of the Book Reporter, or Robert Gray from Shelf Awareness, or another wonderful charity that I've helped start programs with, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. What is important for you all to know, that this is my life's work. This is what I truly believe, that if this world can become a nation of readers, we will better understand other cultures, other peoples, and other religions, and accept that we all have the same basic needs. The need to be loved and to love, to have food, water, shelter, air, and have a safe environment. This is all we want, and I think reading is the key to world peace. I may be the Pulpwood Queen, but you know, I can remember in my days of watching the Miss America pageant how they would ask the contestants what they wanted, or world peace. Well, that's what I want too, because this is the key. Now, I've been on a lot of things, and I've got to meet some really famous people, from political figures like Vice President Al Gore, to Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison, to Secretary of State Colin Powell. I've got to meet wonderful celebrities because I'm a hairdresser. I got to do people's hair and makeup and wardrobe, like Art Garfunkel and Joan Rivers. You know, all those things are wonderful things, and I could name drop many, many more. But really, what is really important, and I'll tear up on this, on my 65th year, is if I hadn't started this book club, I never would have met all these book club members and all these authors who have become, with all their gifts and their sharing of their books, my greatest friends, because it's about not presence, it's about presence. So I'm inviting all of you, please join me. Let's have that conversation. We're bringing our authors in to tell us the story. When you read a book, you see part of a picture. When you share a book with another, the picture starts coming into focus. But when you bring the author into the conversation, such as we do in our live events, the picture comes fully into development, and we can see. A picture says 1,000 words. So that's why it's important that I share with you this little cabin in the woods that I live in. I will never be wealthy. I have, when I leave this planet, I hope this house is empty and everything's been given away. But what I am rich in, I'm filthy rich in friends, because all of you have supported me through the years. 65 years, y'all. It's a really big deal to me, but I feel like I'm just getting started. I have all these young people on board with my staff that are helping me get up to date. And if you need any help learning the technology, come to me, thepulpwoodqueen@gmail.com, because by God, if I can learn how to do it, anybody can. And I live for my book and film club, which is coming up Saturday night. We've now learned how to take all of our events and simultaneously do this Facebook Live like we're doing today. And then it goes up on my Kathy L. Murphy YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Please click the bell icon. I've got over 180 videos that I've done this year from this little cabin in the woods. Social distancing, I haven't been out unless it's a doctor's appointment, because I want to keep the world safe. And let's get a hold on this. Mask up and be safe for your fellow man and for your family and your friends. But there's no reason why we can't get together. And it's not hard. So thank you for listening today. Thank you, everybody, for all of you who reached out, whether financially or donating to the Pat Conroy Literacy Center in my name. Keep going, because that is a wonderful, wonderful endeavor. In fact, there are book club festivals coming up this month, and my executive director will be on a panel with fellow Pulpwood Queen Susan Peterson from Sue's Reading Neighborhood. We've got Laura Marino, who our author we're featuring this week as Book of the Month, will be a featured speaker. We have Kim Herwanko, who runs my New Jersey chapter of Pulpwood Queens, who has Just Between Friends book club, and her book club members wrote a book called Novel Women, and now Novel Women too. They'll be there. My Beaufort Pulpwood Queen chapters, my Charleston Pulpwood Queen chapters. We hope all of you that are out there on the East Coast can go in. I'll be joining live so I can be a part of all of it. Jonathan Hote has got a wonderful staff, Holland Perryman, everybody that's helping him promote literacy. You know, reading is important. And it's also important that you know it's all about the story. Whether it's I'm sharing my author's story or I'm sharing mine on why I do what I do, but it's about sharing your story too. It's a conversation. And we are all on the same page when we know that when we get together, that reading is important. So bye until tomorrow. I have a lot more to say. And I hope you'll all sign up for the Pulpwood Queens at www.thepulpwoodqueens.com. We have men membership, Timber Guy membership. We welcome everybody. We're an inclusive book club, and we just want to connect you with the authors in a very intimate and wonderful way. So have a fabulous weekend. It's Friday of Labor Day weekend. I'm planning on reading the rest of this weekend and painting, and maybe even doing a last minute swimming as I get ready to fall back into reading. So thank you for joining. I love you all, and I am blessed beyond all measure by your friendships. Thank you so very much. Bye from the Pulpwood Queen. Till next time.